slept, they ate, defecated, urinated, vomited. And you and I know females undergo their menstrual cycle every month.
So everything they do
And
is
everything
here.
was done in here. No cleaning, no washing. For 2 to 3 months, waiting for the bigger ships. Imagine the stench, the disease.
We far from home, we far from home, we far from home, we far from home, we far. On the road, on the road, on the road we Kobe. On the road we Kobe. On the road we Kobe. On the road, on the road, on the road we Kobe. On the road we Kobe. On the road we Kobe.
On the road with Kobe, you know how we do it. Currently, we are in Elmina. This is the Elmina Castle. We come learn. We come see new things. We come learn the history about Ghana. I guess some important guy in the building where is going to pour or tell us more about this castle. So stay tuned. On the road with Kobe, you know how we do it. So currently, as I said, we are in Elmina Castle and are there here with the tour guide. So he has a lot to tell you. So relax, stay tuned. Let's go, boss.
Alright,
Boss, how are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I was a day cool. Alex, so can I know your name and you tell us a little about Elmina Castle?
Okay, so my name is Kwesi, and I'm a site guide here in Elmina, slave dungeon. We normally don't use the word castle because castles are meant for royals. But I'm looking at what's happening here, and those who were brought in here were not royals. So instead of a castle, we rather call this a dungeon. So Elmina slave dungeon. Yeah. So this edifice we see here is over 500 years.
Wow.
And it was built by the Portuguese around 1482. But then they first came here 1471 with two reasons: to trade and then spread Christianity, they claim. But then when they came along with European goods like gunpowder, mirror, tobacco. They were much interested in the gold. And the rate at which the locals were giving them gold gave them the impression that this land was full of gold. And the trade they introduced was called barter, where they exchange goods for goods. Now, the abundance of gold they found here made them call this place Amina or Damina, which means the mine.
Wow.
And then they had another name we called Eldia, which means village in their language. But then, because the locals couldn't pronounce the Portuguese word, Amina or Damina was corrupted to today Elmina. And Eldia was also corrupted to today Edina.
Okay, so if I'm getting you right, they are trying to tell us even the word Elmina is a corrupt word. Okay, so that's not the original word, but it was a Portuguese word.
Yes.
But the people, the natives there couldn't pronounce it well. And once you've made me learn this, castles are for royals.
Yes.
But those who came here, they are
not
slaves.
royals.
So this place is
They were captives.
they are captives. Okay. Thank you very much. So you can continue.
Yeah. So, but then before the Portuguese came, the original name of this community was called Anumansan. Anumansan, which literally means inexhaustible kind of water. So the structure itself has been divided into three sections. We have the main courtyard, the inner courtyard, and the service yard. And where we are going now is the inner courtyard.
Wow.
And as I said, it was meant for the female captives, and there were 400 in number. So they share them according to the rooms we have in here. Now you see the Europeans in here never came with their wives, so they were abusing the women in here sexually. The governor, because of his position, anytime he wants a woman of his choice, he stands up there. That's the governor's balcony under the soldiers for the woman to be brought out. He stands up there, choose his choice. Now, if you are chosen, because you'll be in the dungeon for 2 to 3 months without taking your shower, they fetch water from the reservoir down there, wash you, take you to the governor. Right from bed, they bring you back to the dungeon. And some of them resisted rape and they were punished. There is a cannonball behind you, which weighs about 25 kg. Now they put in chains, shackled it to your ankle to restrict your movements. So you stand here whether rain or shine, no food, no water for a day, just to serve as a deterrent for those inside. So from here, let's walk through the dungeons. That's one of the female slave dungeons. This room happens to be the largest female slave dungeon. And here they kept about 150 females. And everything was done in here. Now, if I say everything, I mean everything. That's where they slept, they ate, defecated, urinated, vomited. And you and I know females undergo their menstrual cycle every month.
So everything they do
And
it
everything
here.
was done in here. No cleaning, no washing. For 2 to 3 months, waiting for the bigger ships. Imagine the stench, the diseases. And when you look back there, there is a hole which leads to a magazine where they kept their ammunitions, like gunpowder. And whenever there is a leakage in there, the air in here will be polluted. So most of these enslaved Africans couldn't contain it, so they died. And those who died in here were thrown into the very deep sea. Whenever the ships arrived, all the females who survived the dungeons, they never went this direction. That's where they marched them. There was a wooden stairs down here where they would descend to this dark room called the intersection room. But then the stairs is no more, so you and I cannot move down here. And these bars are here to prevent accidents. So from here, let's use this direction so we can be here.
So if I dey get you, they enter this place to the seaside.
To the room of no return before the
Okay.
bigger boat. Now the door is very short, so when you bend, you count about 4 steps before lifting your head.
Okay.
So let's see the room of no return. Right, so that's the room of no return, where no one came in here and went back through the same door. The moment you find yourself in here, this door will be your exit, and that's the door of no return, the original door of no return.
Wow.
Now, there was a wooden stairs down there where they would descend, but because of the drain, the stairs is no more.
I'm confused. How come? So which means you have to go with this side.
They were going sideways here. But when they went to gold trading, the door was actually big. From this angle to the other angle. But when they shifted to human trade, it was narrowed to this nature. In here, we have 2 separate cells. We have the European cell and the African cell. Why these 2 separate cells? So let's start from the European cell.
Okay.
Now, before we go in there, the European cell was meant for the European soldiers who misbehaved. Some went out without permission. Others also got themselves drunk. If you are caught, you were brought in here. Food, water was given, and they had sources of ventilation. Now, the door here served as another source of ventilation, which means this door here happens to be the original door. Now, you spend few hours in there. From there, you move out peacefully.
So I want to ask a question. So you are trying to tell us that this is the original door from way back.
Yes, this is the original door. Over
Wow.
400 years. Okay, so that's the African cell. Now, the African cell was meant for those who tried fighting for their freedom. We call them the freedom fighters or the rebellions. In here, no food, no water, no light, no or little ventilation. And no one came in here and went out alive. The moment you are brought in here, that's the end of your life. That's why it has an imitation of a skull and a crossbone, which means danger.
So all these things were done by the Europeans.
Yes, this original. These are some of the original bricks.
Wow. And comparing this to the European cells,
European cell,
so this was total brutality. Wow.
Let's check it out.
Bro.
So comparing the two, in the maximum 5 soldiers were put in there. But then here, it depends on the number of people who rebel.
So even 10, 20 people.
10, 20, 40 could be in here. All right, so that's the main courtyard. Now, the exception of these 2 cells, all the other rooms we have on the ground floor was the dungeons for the male captives. And up here, that was where the missionaries, the merchants were living. And those up here was the soldiers. Above the soldiers, the deputy governor. And the last floor was the governor himself. So in here, the more important a person is perceived to be, the higher up he lives. And the center building, ironically, That's the first Portuguese church. It was a Catholic church where they claimed to be worshiping God. And today it is a museum.
So if I'm getting you clear, they were having a church here. So
Yes.
which means during the time the slave trading was going on, they had introduced church to us already.
Yes. They brought, that's why I said when they were coming, they came here to trade and spread
The gospel.
Christianity. Yeah.
Okay. So they spread the Christianity whilst
They were enslaving
they were
Africans.
enslaving the Africans.
That's why I said ironically.
On the road with Kobe.
Yeah. So
We far from
that's the governor's bedroom.
Governors.
The governor's bedroom. He had 3 windows. So personally, I call this room the air conditioning room because of the breeze up here.
You
And
can't
that's
see
not
it.
all. He had a living room as well.
So this is where the governor was staying.
That's where he was sleeping.
Wow. Only one person.
Yeah.
Wow, it's about hundreds of people. Wow. Is this place part?
So this is the living room.
Wow. Okay, so this is a bedroom.
This is the bedroom. Yeah.
Ask how many years did they use to build this castle?
So it was built in stages. But then the first stage, which was done by the Portuguese, it took them 4 years. And I'm saying that it was built in stages because any European country which takes over, they add something, they
Okay.
do something.
Okay, so if I'm getting clear, when an European country, when they come around, they will leave for another people to come and continue.
Yeah, so it wasn't that they were just living on their will, that they may fight.
Okay, so if I'm getting clear, whilst the slave trading was going on, even the white people were also having
Yes.
conflict among themselves.
Yes, because of the monopoly, everybody wants to
Want to come to Africa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when the Portuguese came, the Dutch fought them.
Okay.
So the
And
Dutch
they-
defeated the Portuguese
and they took
and
over.
they took over. So when they came, they added more. When the Portuguese built it, it wasn't big as we are seeing today. But when the
Okay.
Dutch came, they extended it to what we are seeing today.
Okay. So here being the
So
living
this is the living room.
the other was the
And
master.
that's the bedroom.
What about this place?
So no, these two,
Okay, these two.
yes,
Wow.
that was his washroom right there.
Bro.
When you look up there, the white building, that's Fort Saint Jago. It was built by the Dutch around 1665. So when the Dutch came in, they built that structure for self-defense. Soldiers would be out there watching over. Aside the forts, they came along with these cannons for self-defense. Yeah. And they had another way they were defending themselves.
So this is something like,
Cannons, yeah.
is it a bomb or
So we say this is a gun.
a gun?
Yeah, this is a gun. So they fill this with gunpowder, cannonball at the tip. Then they light a match at the tail. So the fire gets into contact with the gunpowder, it moves the ball.
So why is it that this one is going through the direction,
Yeah,
the
so
sea's
this,
direction, but this one I think is
yeah, so this was here, or it's here to defend themselves from other Europeans coming from the sea. This to defend themselves from the locals who tried invading them. Some of the indigenous wanted to
okay.
invade them,
Okay.
take over the
Okay, I get
structure.
it. So which means during that time the means of transportation was by the sea.
Yes,
Okay, so that's
And
why this
foot.
one is facing.
yes.
Okay,
So they were coming with their ships
okay, and this one is for the natives.
for the natives.
Wow.
You see, some of these Europeans came in contact with the natives, the locals. So they were helping them to attack those in here.
Okay, so asking, how did the slaves got in here? How, like, if this is a town, people were living in a town. So while some were here suffering, others too were in the town enjoying, or how was it?
So the captives who were brought in here, most of them are not from this community. They are not from this community. They were captured from different West African countries.
Oh, okay, so some of the slaves were coming from different.
Yes, present day Benin, Nigeria, Senegal, and most of them were wrongdoers. You see, those days in the community, if you are at fault, or let's say you commit a crime, today you'll be sent to the police station. But then back then, you'll be brought
You
in
brought
as
in.
a captive. So you are coming to serve.
Okay.
Yeah, and some were forcefully kidnapped. And then before the Europeans came, we had this intertribal wars.
Okay.
So
Yes.
tribes fighting against themselves. And the victims of the war were brought in as captives.
Okay.
Yes.
Your own job is just to subscribe and like. You see, I go enter every corner, every place, then give you the news. I know you've learned a lot. This is a Elmina custom. You've learned a lot. We've known a lot. Today, I know you've learned a lot of things you don't know. Yeah, this is the Elmina custom. We've learned about the brutalities that our ancestors went through, the kind of hardship that they went through. Whilst about 100 men were in one room, a white man was also enjoying himself, having a chamber in the hall with a dressing room and a whole lot of stuffs. Bro, at the same time, they had a church service in here and they were worshiping. So I asked myself, then what is the meaning of Christianity here? Because these people introduced Christianity to us. And at the same time, they were molesting and torturing people here. So this is the end of the show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. On the road with Kobe.
On the road with Kobe. On the road with Kobe. On the road, on the road, on the road with Kobe. On the road with Kobe. On the road with Kobe. On the road.